Hey, hey, hey! What's going on, everybody?
We on.
We are
What's
on.
up?
We're live.
Cool.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of JSNB Talk. We are the podcast. I don't remember what we were going to say. Oh, I do now. We are the podcast that puts the harm in charm. The three of us. JSNB Talk stands for Jared, Stu, and Nicky B. So Jared is up there in the top left. He shaved his head and has facial hair now. Um, and Nicky
I've
B's down
matured
there,
too.
and Nicky B got a haircut as well, and you guys both got big haircuts. And yeah, so we have Brian and we have Kyle on this week. Brian is Nicky B's Faja. Kyle is my brother. You guys have probably met them before.
It's
Um,
like your mom's on already, Stu.
Dude, they are waiting. They love this
Waiting for
Holy
it.
stuff.
moly.
They live
She
for
thought we were on it.
JSNB Talk.
She thought we were on at 7. So she might have been sitting there for a whole hour waiting for us.
That would be odd.
I
Nothing
feel the
like a
love,
little
mama.
guerrilla warfare there. What's up,
She's
mama?
already throwing comments in. I'm just pulling us up over here on Facebook and sharing the live. So give me 1 second here, gentlemen. What do we got going on this week? What do you anything big coming up or anything big happen?
Well, we all know what today is, right,
What's today?
Stu? Huh?
What's
What's the
today?
date today, Stu?
It's January 18th.
January 18th. What
Yeah,
happened, what was it, 33 years ago?
33 years ago. 33 years ago, something happened on January 18th. This is a great question. Mom, maybe you can help us out. Let's not talk about 9 months before January 18th, 1991. I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
other than that,
Yeah.
obviously, Stu.
Yeah, it's my
It was snowing.
birthday. And it was
Yeah,
snowing.
happy.
I think they said it was snowing. It was a Friday, and I was born at 8. It's either 8:15 or 8:45. I can never remember in the morning. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, she said, let's not go there. Wow.
Please in the morning. Please don't go there. Do not want to go there.
Yeah,
So, but other than that, we're still waiting on little Brinson to arrive.
We are
Waiting on a
anxiously
phone call.
awaiting baby Brinson.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So, thought it was going to happen on Monday, and the little guy's got the stubborn streak of his grandmother
Ooh, he
to
said
be
it live. It is now.
on.
It's live. It's gonna get clipped and it's gonna get saved forever. He said it.
Documented forever.
Yep.
I don't think Mare's in the chat, so I'm good.
Well, I'm gonna make sure she sees it. So, yeah, yep, we are. Man, I want it to happen today, Brian. I want little baby Brinson
Hey,
and me to share a birthday. That'd be perfect. I'm waiting for a text
you
from.
know, the only problem, Stu, is even if he called now, there's really no way that,
Where there's a will,
there's no
there's a
way that
way.
we,
Becca is on Team Stew, and she is gonna push that little baby out as hard as she can
yeah.
to beat
But
it
Four
she
before
said
hours.
she was,
midnight.
yeah, 4 hours before. She
Yep.
said the other day that she was exercising, even trying to get the juices flowing.
So I texted
So,
Nicky B right before to see if he wanted to play some video games before we went live, and he said helping Becca with some exercises. So I'm assuming because he was telling me the other day they were doing exercises trying to induce the labor.
nice.
So
So my niece just asked which grandma. That's my niece, Jennifer, or Jennifer
hello,
is my
Jennifer.
niece.
Welcome, Brian's
Uh,
niece.
and it is my wife, Mary, is the stubborn streak inside the little boy. So anyway,
Ooh, he got
um,
specific.
yep. So Stu, I don't know if you know this or not either, Kyle, but my wife used to be an OB nurse, and there's one thing that a couple can do that really kind of uh, motivates uh, birth to happen. Do you guys know what it is?
I can imagine what you're gonna say, and
I'm sure you can.
we're good here. We'll keep it
Yes,
PG.
yes. Yeah. I just think
The
about there for a little bit,
yeah,
but yes.
exactly. They can bake a cake.
So, Nick, if you're listening, get busy,
Don't.
buddy.
Just, well, yeah, let's not talk about it.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
On the same page there. Let's not imagine that. Don't want to.
Oh,
Anywho,
man.
all right. Well, Brian and Kyle and I, we were chatting a little bit this morning or this afternoon. Not really sure when it was. We were trying to figure out what exactly we wanted to chat about tonight. So we're gonna have some fun tonight talking about some of the things that we are, or some of the scariest moments of our lives. So that could be from, well, it could be literally anything. Literally anything.
Well, I think, Stu, that we all have experienced things in our lives, well, just like when we were little kids, being scared of the dark, or,
Still scared of the
being
dark.
scared, obviously, by friends or family or whatever. So we've all experienced those things. I think more so what we're talking about is extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah.
Things that you look at from perspective and saying, wow, that was scary.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and it's it'll be interesting to hear what you guys have for that, because I think sometimes too what is maybe scary for one person might not be considered scary or something for somebody else. So, it'll be interesting.
sure.
So who wants to start? Do you guys want me to start, or who wants to take the lead?
You're the judge, jury, and executioner, buddy.
Boom. All right. I'll go first. Scariest thing that ever happened to me. Mom, you are going to remember this very, very, very vividly, I think, was I was in a very bad car accident when I was 16 years old. I had gotten off work at the pizza shop that I worked at. Shout out Jim and Nina's Dover. For those of you who have never been there, go. Food is great. But I was working there, and I got off early on a Sunday. It was raining, and I was driving up Route 74, speed limit's 55, and I was driving behind this car that was driving like 15 miles per hour under the speed limit. They were being like super careful, right? Because it's raining, and I'm like, hit the gas, Grandpa, let's go. So instead of waiting behind them, I took a little detour down this like back road, and I had a 1993 Mitsubishi Eclipse rear-wheel drive, and I was probably driving front-wheel drive. I thought it was rear-wheel drive. Front-wheel drive. Okay, I'm just kidding. But I got on this back road, and there's a pretty sharp like S curve in the road, and I hit it a little too fast, and the rear end of my car slid out from underneath me, and in that moment, that's when I remember being like very scared, because I had no control, right? What was about to happen was going to happen regardless of what I did. And so I slid through somebody's front yard in their grass, kind of coming in sideways. He had a retaining wall here that was about 4 or 5 feet high, and then a driveway, and then some more grass down here. So I hit the top of this retaining wall, and the momentum threw me over. And I like rolled in the air, landed, and then rolled a couple times down his yard. Looking back at it, like I don't remember anything after that moment. The next thing I remember was I was laying on the ground. There was a guy standing above me and telling me that the ambulance was on the way. But looking back, like sometimes I drive down that road. There's 2 like large trees there, and I literally kicked a field goal. Like I split the trees, didn't hit a single, like God is good, right? Didn't hit a single tree, and then I had no injuries or anything from the accident. The ambulance showed up. He's like, I'm not sure how you're not dead, let alone like no injuries.
Did you get thrown from the car, Stu?
No. So the guy who was there, again, I don't remember this, but so the car landed on the roof, and
Oh
somehow
my.
I got my seatbelt off and got out, and then like sat. I guess he was there. He's like, hey, sit down, lay down, or whatever. And so like I laid down on the grass, and then, but I don't remember any of that.
Wow.
But all I remember was
Wow.
in that moment when the car first started to go, I was like, "This is it. Like this is the end." Because I was not driving super slow,
Yeah.
and like I said, with no control at all. Like what is about to happen is going to happen, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was super scary.
Those are scary. Those are, dude, those, it's a funny thing because you look at it from perspective of saying there's nothing that you're exactly right. There's nothing that you can do.
Yep.
I mean, you're pretty much you're it's like the song, who is it? Carrie Underwood song?
Jesus take the
God,
wheel.
God take the yeah, Jesus take the wheel, and that's basically what happens,
Yeah.
and it's crazy.
Yeah.
It is absolutely crazy.
I've thought about that. Like
I remember that day.
I've thought back to that day and wondered like, because in that moment I froze. Like I remember I froze. I didn't like once the car started going. I don't remember hitting the brake or hitting the gas or trying to counter steer. I think I froze, and I wondered like, did I freeze for a reason? If I hit the brakes or if I hit the gas or if I tried to counter steer, was I going into one of those
Yeah,
trees? You know,
right,
like I
right.
hit that retaining wall and threw over it at the perfect spot. So that way
Yeah,
I was going through the
yeah.
trees and just rolling down the yard versus being pancaked into a pretty
Wow,
pretty large tree.
wow.
So
Yeah,
um,
your mom said that the car was completely flattened.
yeah, there's pictures.
That's
Let me see
crazy.
if I can find one. I can show a
So
picture.
I
Wow.
remember that day. I was in the basement in my room, and Aaron called me and said, "I just flipped my car." And I, at the time, had a Ford Ranger pickup truck. And I was like, "Was the car okay?" And he says, "Yeah." He said, "It needs flipped over." So I went down in the garage, grabbed my stepdad Lynn's chains, threw them in the bed of the truck, and it was right up the road from the house, like not even 5 minutes from the house.
Wow.
And got to the scene, and I was like, "His car is not okay." Like, and he
So I don't
doesn't
even
he
remember saying
like I
that.
wouldn't even call it an injury, but all you had was on your neck was the seatbelt mark on your neck.
Yeah,
I
like
do remember the
a brush
big.
burn.
Yep. And I got there and I was
Wow.
like, this is not good." And then I think mom and Lynn honestly were like taken after like the Sunday after church nap, and I ended up driving down to get dad at Lighthouse, and he came up, and
Wow.
it was crazy.
I know I have pictures on there
Amazing.
somewhere.
How old did you say you were,
I think
Stu? 16.
16. Yep, 16.
Was
Yep,
that your first car?
it was my first car. Yep, I still have a piece of
sure
it
you have
somewhere.
Wow.
like
I saved a piece of the windshield. But yeah,
I
like
thought you had like a specific album just for those couple pictures. Because if you don't, I do. One of us has it
I apparently do not, but I can look on
on
yours.
That's
Facebook.
crazy,
Yeah,
man.
let me see.
That is
But
crazy.
yeah, so the ambulance driver was like talking to me. He's checking me out, and he's like, I don't like. There's nothing wrong with you. He's like, if you want to go to the hospital and get checked out, he's like, you probably should, but you'll save a lot of money if you don't ride in this vehicle. And so my mom like put me in her car. We went into the hospital, and they kind of said the same thing. They're like, you were that accident? Like, apparently everybody was expecting there to be some,
Yeah.
yeah, like almost dead
Ugly.
person coming in on a stretcher and whatnot. Yeah, there it is, Kyle.
Wow.
Let
Wow.
me see.
Pretty
That's pretty
wild.
I'll see
crazy.
if I can share this. Screen share. There it is.
I think there's like five of them.
See if I can.
I want to say.
Yeah. So there it is on
Yeah, there
the.
you go.
Oh. Oh, wow.
Yep.
So
There's.
like the roof was like
Yeah, that's not okay.
I don't
you
even
can see
remember
right there
saying
where the
that, to be
wheels
honest with
are.
you. This is the inside, some of the trash that I had that flopped around, but there's the roof of it and the windshield.
Wow. That's
That right
pretty
there is
crazy,
probably a
man.
Lord of the Rings DVD right there on the front seat.
It probably
It looks like
was.
a Lord of the Rings. I'm telling you.
And
Look
There
then
you
at
go.
that
there's how
back.
far the wheel's sticking out from the fender.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah,
That is crazy that you walked away from that not
pretty
injured at
intense.
all.
Yep. Like I said,
Wow.
other than this the brush burn from the seatbelt, which is that's I mean kind of a sign in and of itself because I never wore that seatbelt. It was one of those ones, the old 90s cars where like you turn the ignition and it folds back on top of you, and I always
Oh,
did one of
yeah.
these, And for some reason that day I didn't do that. And
Wow.
obviously, right? Like God's hand was in that
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So,
Correct me if
Yeah.
I'm wrong here. wasn't there a window at that house there that the guy was like standing there doing dishes and like
Yeah.
was looking out the window and saw it happen?
Yeah, so the actual guy's front yard that I went through, he said people get in accidents all the time on that corner, and he's tired of people wrecking in his front yard. He was doing dishes and watched it happen and did not walk outside
Um,
once. Like, didn't come out, check on me, nothing. He just stood
really?
there and kept doing his dishes. Yeah. Yep. I was like, wow,
Climb up my roof.
Wow.
nice guy.
That's crazy, man. That
But
is crazy.
Jared, or
So still, let me ask you.
oh yeah,
So was your body
yeah.
and were you sore afterwards?
So in the moment, no, but the next morning, 100%, yeah.
Really?
For a couple of days, yeah. Yeah, my neck was really sore, my back was really sore. Um, but
Dude, I mean, just from looking at those pictures, man, there's no way that I mean, the whole thing, the whole roof was crushed, man.
yeah,
There's no
yeah,
way you
and
can. I mean, it was down at the top of the seat.
yeah, like I said, I have no idea. I do not remember how I got out. The car was literally on the roof when the tow trucks got there, so like I was upside down, or maybe I was thrown. I don't know. Well, no, I wasn't because the guy said
Yeah,
he
you
saw me
couldn't have
walk.
been if you had your seatbelt on. I mean, you could have been, but
So I don't
wow.
know. The
Your
guy
mom
said the
said
radio was
the
still
guy
blaring
said
as the
the
car was
radio was still
flipping.
blaring.
Yeah, I don't know what I was listening to. It might have been
It's like
blaring some
it's
Hillsong
like
or something like that.
one of those commercials where it's flipping through the air and you're hearing this music.
Yeah,
You know, that's like
yeah.
that'd be wild. That'd be
Mayhem.
wild.
So easy. Aaron can do it.
Yeah, so you can avoid mayhem like me.
That's right.
So
But Brian,
that's
you in
wild,
our
dude.
chat today, you were saying that you rolled a potato chip truck.
Yeah. Well, I didn't. Um,
Oh, okay.
I so this was back. I don't know how. This is probably back in the maybe mid to late '90s, maybe early '90s. I don't know, somewhere back there. Anyway, I was working for Hershey Potato Chips, and I was in Hanover, Pennsylvania, and came down to an intersection, and I'm driving a full size like chip truck, bread truck type of thing. And it come to an intersection, stop, take a right turn, and about a block in, there's another intersection that the cross streets have stop signs, and I don't. I've got the right of way, and I'm probably traveling 15 miles an hour or whatever, getting going. Out of the corner of my eye, I see this Suburban coming up to the stop sign, and I'm like, there's no way this lady's stopping. There ain't no way. I mean, she's moving.
She's
So
cooking.
I'm thinking, well, maybe I can make if if I don't do something, she's gonna T-bone me if she doesn't stop. I'm like, so I floored it, and of course the chip truck, when you floor it, nothing happens. So she hit me, she blew the stop sign and hit me behind the back wheels and flipped me. I tried to turn into it to keep it from tipping over, and obviously that didn't work. But so she flipped me. I probably slid probably about 35, 40 feet.
Jeez.
Still wasn't going real fast. But unlike you, I did not have my seatbelt on.
Oh.
So I'm on my side, and I think it was springtime, so it was a little chilly out, so I had my window up. But if I wouldn't have had my window up, I would have been sitting on my butt, sliding across concrete, being pushed by a bread truck because I was sitting right on the window whenever I stopped. So,
Wow.
I'm sitting there, and up above me there's a printer that probably weighs 65 pounds. That if it would have fallen out, it probably would have killed me. But
Jeez.
so I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the heck just happened? Unlike, I mean, I remember trying to steer into it, and I'm watching it. It's like slow motion. Everything's just like I remember
Boom.
trying to steer into it, but and I got up, and I mean, obviously I'm standing on my window, look back, and there's chips everywhere, and all
Free
kinds of
chips.
snack food. Yeah, yeah, it was ugly. So
What kind
got
of?
out, and I didn't, I was fine. No injuries, but like you, I think a lot of times when that kind of stuff happens, you go into shock.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because
Oh, yeah.
you're like, I don't know what happened. I remember opening the door. It was funny because I had the door swung out, but when it's on its side, it had to swing up. So I actually remember opening the door up and then, trying to remember not to let it hit me on the head on the way down. But then sat down and they came and got me, and I ended up sitting on the curb, calling my boss, letting them know what happened, and then ambulance showed up, and they said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." But they wanted to strap me to a board. They strapped me, one of those backboards,
Ah,
so you can't move.
yeah.
So, and then on the way in, they put me in the ambulance, took me to the hospital, and my arms are all everything's strapped down, so I can't even call my wife. So I think one of the EMTs got the phone, and I told him the number, and he dialed it and held it up to my ears so I could talk to her.
Hmm.
And
Ay, ay,
she's
ay.
freaking out, but
Way to. I mean,
it's
they kind of made that a bigger deal than it needed to be, right?
yeah,
Jeez.
they did.
Hey, I'm
But
currently
I mean,
strapped down to a bed.
Good.
Can't
but
move.
Okay.
On my way to the hospital.
yeah, right. And so, and
Wow.
then of course, company wide, wise, I had to go before. I had to go down to. You guys know where Oxford, Pennsylvania is?
I've
Down near the
heard of it.
Maryland Rising Sun, Maryland, down near the
Yeah.
border. Anyway, I had to go down there for a safety committee meeting because I wasn't wearing my seat belt. But yeah,
They
well,
gotcha.
it is what it is. Yeah. So, but,
Jeez.
that was and again, I mean, thinking, okay, I'm in the midst of tipping over here because he just got blown out by a Suburban. And I'm like used to. I'm like, oh, nothing I can do.
Yep, this is happening.
Might as well
So
just
grab onto
go with the
something and go
flow.
for the ride.
Yeah,
Yep, it's like
yeah,
Hershey Park
that's
for
Of
it.
free.
all vehicles to
That-
hit you, it had to be a big Suburban. Could have been like a
oh,
little
I know.
Prius, or it was a boat. You had a yacht coming at
Yeah.
him.
Oh my goodness, thing was.
Was the
Go ahead.
driver of that vehicle? Was she okay?
Yeah, she was fine. She was
Okay.
freaking out because, I don't. I don't even remember talking to her, but
Hmm.
I think she came over and said, "Are you okay?" And I can't believe I blew that stop sign or whatever. So,
So
but
she admitted
you
fault.
know,
Nice job,
yeah.
lady.
Oh yeah, yeah, right. So.
Jeez.
Anyway, that's scary story number one.
Well, two car accidents, Cal. What do you got?
Taking back off that, and it wasn't an actual accident. I got lucky. I was on Route 30 in a 3-lane road, and I was in the right lane, getting ready to turn off of 30 in front of Old Country Buffet. And at rush hour, that line always gets backlogged for people turning right up at Denny's. And I was on a motorcycle, and the people in front of me slammed on the brakes, and I had to try to brake, and I knew I wasn't going to get stopped. So I was either going to go into the car in front of me or merge in between the two lanes because there was a car directly right beside me. So I had it was either curb, trunk, or door. And so I chose to go in between these two vehicles. Luckily enough, the girl in the middle lane didn't have anybody over in the far left in the fast lane. And so she moved over, and we got up to the right, the red light, and me and her were sitting there as like the two front cars. And I was like, oh gosh, what's she going to say? Like, oh, you motorcycle people, blah, blah, blah. And I get up there and I just like looked over, and she put her window down. I'm like, oh. And she's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I said, I was more worried about you. I said, I apologize if I scared you, blah, blah, blah. And it ended up, she's like, it's fine. I understand. She said, I drive a motorcycle as well, and I knew exactly where you were going to go. I was like, sweet.
Wow.
Like, it worked. At the point, I was like, oh, gosh, I'm about to wreck. And, like, had to make a quick split
Yeah.
decision, and it ended up working out perfect. But, yeah, at that time, it was pretty scary.
Oh my goodness. Well, there's
Especially-
nothing to protect you in that situation, man.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
You got
especially
no
being on a
no
motorcycle.
doors, no seatbelt, no nothing.
Nothing.
So,
Like if you
That's
if
scary.
you ran
That's-
into that bumper, you were getting tossed forward.
Oh, I would have went up over, yeah.
Yeah. Sheesh.
wow. Yeah,
That was pretty
that's
wild.
you see these there's no other easy way to say it. You see these idiots riding down through 2 lanes of traffic on their motorcycles, and I'm like, so Kyle, if you're one of those guys, I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't.
Better not be.
So, what? Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. Wow. Yeah. Did you have a helmet on, Kyle?
I was honestly just thinking that. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't, and I couldn't tell you if I did or not.
Really?
What an idiot.
Yeah,
And you still don't after that?
I still every once in a while do, and I mostly don't.
Wow, that's
Shouldn't even
really
say that.
that's really awesome.
Oh my
That's good for
goodness.
you. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
very
Yeah.
responsible
right.
and sounds like you got a really good head on your shoulders, so you should probably cover that with a helmet.
Wear the seatbelt?
Yeah,
Yes,
Oh,
I
you
do.
have to because your car
Yeah,
beeps.
because my car screams at me if I don't. They do that
You're
stuff on
correct.
purpose now. The cars just
Because
freaking
you
yell
yell
at
at
you.
me.
Yep.
Because you yell at me whenever I get your seatbelt on.
Yeah, because I don't want to hear that. I want to hear my music. I want to hear Frozen 2.
Yeah.
That's what we listen to
let it go.
in the Malibu
Let it
now,
go.
because that's what Ellie wants
Oh,
to listen
great.
to, and it's Ellie's world, and we just live in it.
Yeah. So
So,
I've been there.
Brian, you said that was scary story number one. Do you have a scary story
Yeah.
number two?
Oh, I do. This one's actually it's humorous. It's humorous, but it wasn't when it happened. So, are you guys familiar with the game geocaching?
Yeah.
You know
Aaron
what
used to do that.
geocaching is?
Yeah, I used to do that a
Yeah.
lot.
Well, yeah, me too. In fact, I would go out lunchtime. I would go out Sunday morning before church. I
Oh,
mean, I was
wow.
You were
crazy.
into it.
So, yeah, I was into it. I saw a lot of cool stuff, but one time I'm down in a park. It's called Rose Garden down here on 15, and they have a geocache hidden behind this. You know how they have like little power stations in parks?
Yep.
They have a fence around them. They have the little gray boxes and stuff. Well, this one had pine trees around it too. So the geocache was actually behind the pine trees, behind the fence. So I'm back there, I find the geocache, assign the log and all that kind of stuff. And I'm coming back, I'm looking at my GPS, and all of a sudden I see these three cop cars coming down the street with their lights on, and they actually come ripping up into the park. And I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, I'm not thinking anything about it. And so they come to a stop. There's three of them across. They come to a stop. They get out of their cars and they draw their guns and they point them at me. And I'm like, okay, no
I'm
idea
sorry for
what's going on.
signing the
I'm gonna have to
log.
get up. Yeah, right.
Sorry
I'm gonna
for
have to get
finding
up
it
and show you
before you.
have to show you this in action too. So
Oh,
they
here we
say when
go.
they point their guns at me, I'm gonna unplug here for a second too. I won't unplug anyway. So they point their guns at me and say, "Put your hands up and turn around." I said, "All right," and this is what I did.
Yo, you're stupid. Yo, you're
So,
dumb.
so I'm like,
Oh
oh
my
my God, I've
gosh.
never been through this before, obviously. So
Is this your
um,
first rodeo?
they said, no, turn around and face the other way and then walk backwards to us. I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that. So ended up doing that. And uh, they 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 don't cuff me. However, they put me up against the car, frisk me, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, dude, what the heck? And so they finally say, about a mile away, there was a bank robbery, and you fit the description to a T. I'm like, oh, great.
Perfect.
So they wanted to know what I was doing. Said I'm on my lunch break. I'm geocaching. They said, "Do you have any ID?" And I said, "Yeah, I got it in my car." So, but I'm like, dude, I got to go home and change my pants because I'm like, freaking out. So, thinking,
He puked his
I got to
pants.
call mayor from jail. So, anyway,
Oh man,
that was scary story number two. It's
that sounds like a.
now you look at it and it's like humorous, but when you're getting guns pulled on you, I don't know if you guys have ever had guns pulled on you, but it's
Oh,
not the most fun thing looking at it from a perspective of saying looking down the barrel.
So, not a real gun, but a BB gun.
Hold on.
Uh oh. Brian's headset
All right, try
is.
it again.
Are you there? Can you hear us?
No,
Uh oh.
what's wrong?
Can you hear us?
I don't know.
He doesn't know.
I can't hear it.
Now we can't hear you. Pardon the interruption while we have some technical difficulties. Can't hear you at all, Brian. Well, while Brian is working on that, um, I was telling them a little bit earlier. There was a time where I was shot in the face by a BB gun in a drive-by in Dover, Pennsylvania, of all places. And Mom, again, you'll probably remember this. I tell people, Mom, that you were at the beach. I'm pretty sure that's where you were. And maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I remember calling you on the phone and telling you about it. I remember just saying, I think I just got shot. And your response was like, what? But yeah, I walked out the front door, opened up our door and our screen door, and I turned around and pulled the door closed behind me, and I turned to my right, and there's a guy like hanging out a window with a BB gun rifle, and yes, we were at the beach. Yep, I thought so. And he fired off a couple shots. One went through double-plated window. One went through me. One hit our house, and yeah, it hurt a lot. It bled a lot, and then yeah, actually the BB's still in there. So I will at one point, I'll have to find a really strong magnet. Maybe one time when we go live on here, I'll show everybody my my fun party trick. I told the no, I can't hear you, Brian. I told the nurse in the hospital. I went to the hospital to see if I could get it removed, and she told me that it didn't need to be removed. That it could, it would be fine in there. And so I told her, I was like, well, I said this will be the trick that I show my kids farther down the road, right? When my kids are having a birthday party and all their friends come over, I'll just walk out into the room with a magnet and things hanging off my face, and it'll be like a clown without having to pay for it. So, budget-friendly party trick. But Kyle, have you ever had a gun pulled on you?
Never had a gun pulled on me, but it kind of goes with Brian's deal with the handcuff deal. Have you ever been handcuffed before?
No. I do remember this
So
night.
I
I know
have.
exactly where you're going with this too.
So this I wasn't scared. It was more of like a worry, like, okay, what's next? So I was hanging out on Route 30, right exactly in the Old Country Buffet parking lot where I almost ran into this car. And their curfew was 11 o'clock. And it came to be after 11 o'clock, and it was where everybody hung out with their muscle cars, their rice burners, everybody's hanging out.
Mom says,
And,
I'm listening. Mom, you remember this because you had to go pick him up.
Yes, he picked me up. And so we're sitting there, and all of a sudden it's whoop, and cop lights came out of nowhere, and they blocked all the exits out of the parking lot and made everybody, like, they swarmed in the parking lot and made everybody sit on the ground and towed everybody's car away and took, I would say there's at least 100 people there, and took everybody down to the local fire department, put you in handcuffs in the back of the panel van with, like, the benches on the side. And I'm like, oh gosh, like, what is this? I handcuffs, everything, and they processed his paperwork and towed the vehicle. I had to get that the next day. So then I'm like, who do I call? Oh, called Mom. And Mom came and picked me and Nick up and
Nick who?
took us home. And then the next, Nick Kiefhofer, the one that I lived with.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I remember.
it was more of like a worry thing, not scared, but I was like, oh gosh, I just got put in handcuffs. I'm getting back in this, like, criminal van. Like, I'm elbow to elbow with other people that I have no clue who they are. And we got set down there, and we were there forever because there was only a certain amount of cops, and like they waited till they called your name, and the night ended with Mom taking us home.
I remember Mom. Still can't hear you, Brian. I remember Mom. We were at home. I was down in the basement. She came down. She's like, "Hey, I'm leaving." She's like, "I have to go pick up your brother," and I was like, "Oh," because at the time you weren't living at home. And I was like, well, like, did his car break down or something? She's like, no, he got arrested. I was like, oh, Kyle got arrested
and towed. Yeah, and I had
Yeah.
to pay like $250 the next day to get it out of impound. Like, it was
Jeez.
rough. But
Yeah, yep, I do remember that. That was good stuff. Brian, can you try just unplug the headset and just try and talking right from your laptop? Or is that not working either? No, that's not working either. Did you somehow mute yourself in Discord? Sorry, everybody, for the technical difficulties. Doesn't look like you're muted in Discord.
Like, back out and come back in.
Yeah, maybe leave the voice channel, Brian, and come back in. It's gonna mess up the video, like the three of us for a second, but well, actually, just you and Brian. We'll see if that fixes it. But Brian, if you're okay with it, while you're figuring that out, we'll jump to our second question that we had, and we'll grandfather you in when you get back. So we were talking earlier too about if you you just jumped up into Brian's. Oh, there we go. Nope, I don't think it's working. Nope, still not working.
Birthday brothers.
If you could have a meal, or no, I'm sorry. Who? Hold on, I gotta see how it was worded. It was a very good question. Hold, please. It's right here. Scariest thing. Here we go. One person that you would not want to have dinner with alone, whether it be because of awkward conversations, awkward silence, or some other reason. Oh, now it's really messed up. Now the video's all messed up. Hopefully Brian gets back in here soon. Fixes that. Actually, let me see if I can go to... Nope, that doesn't make it better either. None of these setups are... Nope. Nope, there he is. Wait.
Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you.
Yeah,
So
all right.
turn your camera back on, and that'll flop you too. Perfect. He's back.
Woo-hoo.
Brian is back.
Everybody-
You're really quiet.
Am I?
Yes, at least on my end.
I can hear you okay. It's not as loud as it was, but I can still hear you.
How's that?
Same.
Better? Same. All right.
Let me see if I can adjust your audio in Discord. Maybe bump you up a little bit. Nope, you are maxed.
Hold on 1 second. Where's it at?
We are figuring it out while he's working on that. So the question was worded, one person that I forgot it again. One person that you wouldn't want to have dinner alone with, whether it be because of awkward conversations, awkward silence, or some other reason. So let's be polite here, gentlemen.
Okay.
Keep in mind of, Kyle, if you were to say you don't want to have dinner with mom, well, she's here, and you're going to hurt her feelings. So don't say that. While Brian's working on that, Kyle, did you come up with someone? I know you were struggling with this one. You said you couldn't...
There's so many people where, yeah, we can hear. It's still kind of the same though.
All right.
There's so many like that I would sit down with and just have multiple questions for. But I don't know. I was like honestly thinking about this like today for hours. Like I really couldn't. I have one, but I can't say anything about that one. And so like I was struggling, and Aaron kind of hit at like a sports player or whatever, and there's like one NFL player I cannot stand. Well, there's two of them, and they're on the same team. I can't stand either one of them. They're great athletes, but like you catch a 7-yard pass and you get the first down, and they think they're like, I don't get it. You're trying to pump the game up, but I cannot stand. I think this one. So Aaron gave me a name earlier, and I'd go with the other one probably more than who he said. I can't. So he suggested Travis Kelce. I can't stand the guy. I think his head's this big, and my other one would be Patrick Mahomes. I think I hate him more than Travis Kelce. But so like I don't like the guy. I wouldn't want to, but I think I'd want to sit down and be like, what's your deal? Like why do you think you're the greatest? Please fill me in. Like It'd be tough. I'm like, I would have so many questions for like people I hate, or like, and I can't say hate. I shouldn't say hate, but
Is there
just those
any
two people, like, oof,
is there
can't
any
stand them.
so maybe it's not because you dislike them, but is there anybody that you think you would not be able to sit down with because it would just be awkward? You know what I'm saying? Like maybe not somebody you dislike, but like you just wouldn't know what to talk about, or you wouldn't, you know what I mean? Maybe we'll let you sit on that one. Sit
Like,
on
let
that
me
for a
hear you
couple
guys,
seconds.
and then
Yeah. Brian, what do you
Can you
got?
hear me? Can you hear
You,
me okay?
you are still very quiet.
okay,
Very quiet. That is really weird. I don't know what
Is he
happened.
quiet for you, Kyle?
I can hear him fine.
Okay, that's just really weird. Um, so I was thinking about this too, because I'm like, you know, I mean, awkward silence and just, awkward conversation is just like, but I think that people who are obnoxious to me are people like the women from The View. I would love to not sit down with them.
I
You know,
would
Whoopi
love to not.
Yeah, I would love not to sit down with him. Whoopi Goldberg, I just, I'd feel like just punching her in the face because I'm like, she's just so obnoxious, you know? And all those other people, I mean, I know I don't know if they still do or not. I've never watched the show, but they used to have 3 or 4, I can't remember what it was, 3 or 4 liberal women on there.
Good follow up.
And 3 or 4 liberal women, and then they would have one that was conservative. And it used to be oh, what the heck's her name? Candace.
Candace Cameron Burr or Bure
Right.
or
Right. Yep.
yeah.
So she was the conservative one, and they would just, the clips that I saw, they would just chew her up and spit her out.
It was
And I'm
everybody
like,
against. It was 3 or 4
yeah,
against one. Yeah.
it just drives me crazy. So people like that, just, to me, it's like it just, I don't know. I would hate having to sit and listen to them and be polite.
That's a really good answer because so in particular for me from that show, if I had to pick one that I did not want to, it would be Joy Behar.
Oh,
Like 100% no, and then Whoopi Goldberg would be number 2. But Joy
yeah,
Behar for sure would be a solid no.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I kind of made like a little bit of a list. Um, so Joy Behar gets thrown on that list, but I would not want to sit down with Nancy Pelosi. Wouldn't want to talk
Oh,
to her.
uh,
And then I'm actually anxious to see what you say about this, Brian, because I you might have a difference of opinion. I don't know. We'll see. I would not. I don't think I would want to sit down with LeBron James. I don't think I would. I don't think I would. But
so
you're a
so
basketball guy, would you?
I've always said, Aaron, that I do not like LeBron James as a person.
Yeah.
I like him as a basketball player. So I
He's a
think I,
goat.
Stop.
oh God, dude, you need
I
to
knew that
kick
would
him off
ruffle
the
some
channel for
feathers.
that. You need to kick him off the channel for that, Aaron. Mute
Yeah, I
him.
probably should.
So, but he would bother me. I don't like his attitude. I think
And
he's a
that's
good
why I was
basketball.
like, when
Yeah,
you proclaim yourself the king, and when you do all, I got nothing for you. It's kind of like the Pat Mahomes and the Travis Kelsey deal, right? It's like, okay, cool, you're the number one scorer in the league in league history, but you also played
yeah,
for 35 years, and you should be. You are the greatest player of this generation,
right, right.
but the goat
So
topic
so
we can have a different conversation about.
oh,
But
geez,
Kyle,
the problem with that type of conversation is that there's no way to determine it. There's
yeah,
no because so back in the day, as far as I'm concerned, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, I would say top 3 is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You know, dude dominated like nobody, and yet would he be able to hold up in today's game? Probably not. You know, but
yeah.
anyway,
My yes, Derek Delancey, MJ is the goat. You the man for that. My only thing, and we'll just without diving all the way into this, I will say you cannot be the goat of a sport if you have a losing record in the finals. You can't be the GOAT. You just can't. You've lost more than you've won, and you're the greatest of all time. Get out of here.
That's true.
Get out of here.
I would second that. So I would say there's another guy that just I can't stand to listen to him. Well, actually, there's two. So
Ooh,
you guys got to find this one funny.
they just cook your
So
chicken.
yeah, they do. You bet your sweet bippy they do.
Whoa!
Bet your sweet bippy. Bet your freaking chickens.
That's right. So Stephen Colbert, I cannot stand
Ah,
that guy.
I'm with you there.
No, I did. He just I look at him and I'm like, oh my gosh, it just makes my eyes bleed. Makes my ears bleed. Makes every orifice in my
Everything
body.
bleeds.
That's right. That's exactly right. And the other one is, so you guys listen to radio at all? Local radio? No,
Not
not too
really.
much.
Too young
No.
for that.
So what's that?
This is
We're too
AM.
young for that.
This is AM radio, right?
No, actually it's FM.
Oh, okay.
94.9. 94.9.
Oh,
Dude,
take it easy.
why is that?
Hold on who you're about to say.
Why?
You said 94.9. You better not be talking about my boy Newman.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I love them. They're not around. You know what, Aaron? They're actually on a new channel. Did you know that?
Nancy and Newman?
Yeah, on
Oh.
100.1 out of Lebanon.
Oh, I didn't know that. No. Dude, I was so mad when they broke them up in the morning.
I know. Me too. Yeah, that was terrible. No, it's the guy that does. I believe he owns the company, and it's Platinum Automotive. Have you ever heard him?
We get you done.
Oh, dude. I just like it just irritates the crap out of me because I'm like, dude, I get so sick when I hear that come on. I change the channel. I'm like, he drives me nuts.
So he wouldn't have a dinner with him because of his
No,
commercial.
no,
He's like
that's right. That's
writing you
right.
off. You're done.
I feel like telling the guy, dude, every time I hear your commercial on, I'm changing the channel. If you were sitting across from me having dinner, I'd shut you out.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's a
So,
bit of an overreaction, I feel like. A little bit, maybe.
Hey,
No, that's funny.
no.
So let me turn the tables on you guys. So dinner you wouldn't want to have with somebody if you could have a meal with any one person, and I'll make it very broad. I think it makes it harder. Not just alive now, but anybody in history, one person. Can't say Jesus. Who do we got?
So first of all, Aaron, I just got texted by my wife who's up in bed, and she says not to talk so loud.
Oh boy.
So anyway,
All right, Grammy just got on. So Grammy, just so you know, we're answering. I just asked them if you could have a meal with any one person from that's alive now or in history, who would you have a meal with? You get to pick, and they have to say yes, but you can't pick Jesus.
There's so many.
There is so many.
And like
so
the
I'm gonna
one.
throw-
Go ahead, Brian.
No, go ahead.
So, I as a kid was a Dale Earnhardt fan in NASCAR. My dad watched NASCAR on Sundays, and when he passed, I always rooted for Tony Stewart just because we had the same last name. And I now help on a dirt track team, or a sprint car team, and like he's involved in that. Was involved in NASCAR. Recently sold, but had the All Star Circuit of Champions. He owned that. Now he's married to a drag. Well, she was a drag racer, but now she's pregnant and can't. But now he's like in NHRA, so he's been in a whole bunch of stuff. And like just to get his view, like a couple years ago with him with that kid that got out of his car that they found marijuana in his system, like just questions about that or what got him started in racing and his life and how he got brought up into it. And that would probably be like one of my main people that I would want to talk to.
Tony Stewart. You know, when I was in school, I used to tell people that was our uncle, and they believed me.
Tony.
Yep.
I told Kyler before that Rod Stewart was our uncle. I called my dad, got dad in on it, and like texted me back, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Rod, blah blah blah," and was like, "I know stories from back when we were kids," and like Kyler believed for like he went to school and told his teacher that Rod Stewart was my uncle. I kid you not.
It's funny that you say that because when I was in school, I used to tell people Cordell Stewart was also our uncle. I was like, Cordell Stewart and Tony Stewart. Those are my uncles. That's funny. No Grammy, anybody. Anybody at all.
That's funny. So I'm gonna throw out a controversial one.
Okay?
So
So am I.
when I was in junior high, I was intrigued by Adolf Hitler.
Bro! Stop! That's where I was going.
Are you serious?
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, now I gotta change it.
I would read anything that I could get my hands on about him, about the Third Reich.
Yeah. Mein Kampf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, probably I think I was probably like 11, 12, 13, probably for 2 years. I was just like, infatuated and intrigued and everything else with the dude.
Wow.
He was a
Genius. Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
so
It's funny. I was actually just talking to a guy at work about this today. We were talking a little bit about somehow, for some reason, we got talking about World War II, and we were talking about Hitler, and we were talking about what year he died, and then it hit me. Because he's like, well, when was he born? And I got thinking, I'm like, whoa. I was like, he might have been born in the 1800s. And so we were thinking about it, and I was like, he could have been like really early 1900s, but I was like, he might have been born in the 1800s. So we looked it up, 1892.
really.
How weird is that? Like this guy that we learn about, that we hear about, right? He's born in the 1800s. I don't know. To me, that was weird. But yeah, that was gonna be mine. Well, now I got to come up with a different one. Um, I'm a big history guy, and like World War II and the Civil War, those were like the two things. Um, that I've loved to read about and learn about. Man, I wasn't prepared for this. I literally thought I was 100% safe
All the people in the world.
with Adolf Hitler. Yeah.
All right, cool.
You know what?
So Aaron, I'm closer to his age than you are, so I mean that's like
Fair. So you were born what, 1898 or?
yeah, close.
Um, my grandma said Mammy. So Mammy that would be my grandma's grandmother. My great great grandmother. So when Kyle and I were growing up, she was actually still alive. We have a lot of memories with Mammy going up and having breakfast with her and all that. We got 5 generation pictures taken and all that. Grammy she did live in Dover, yeah. So she lived like right up the hill from where my Grammy lives, and Kyle and I used to get on our bikes and drive up there, ride up there some nights and play cards with her. We always played rummy, and she'd get really mad at us when we were playing rummy, and we would play three of a kind because it always ruined her straights, and she would get really really angry with us. Um, she was born in your great great grandfather was born 1881. Yeah, that to me, like, I don't think I ever thought about that before. I just kind of assumed everybody that I knew was born in the 1900s. But yeah, 1800s. That's a wow, man. The default I want to go to is Abe Lincoln.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Or oh, you know what? Nah, I take it back. I'm gonna go George W. Bush. Because 9/11, I just want to know, like, when that happened, like, so he was reading a book in a school to kids when he got the news, and then like he had to disappear obviously, and like I don't know if he went to Camp David or where he went, but I just want to know, like, what were the initial conversations that happened after that? Um, how soon were you ready to like start the military up and go after somebody? I would love to just kind of know what all that was.
That would be interesting.
Cool conversation.
I think when we look back
Yeah.
So you look back at your life over the last 30 years, and all the historical events that have happened. It would be cool to be on the inner circle of those guys making decisions in those games.
Yeah.
90 in 9/11, the Gulf War. Who the dude that shot Hussein. All that stuff. It would
Yeah.
be so cool to sit down and talk to those guys and just
I didn't even think about that.
you know. Because you think about it. I mean, I even talking about like the whole shooting Hussein. You know, adrenaline pumps. I
Yeah.
get adrenaline
Oh,
just from thinking about it. You know, so being there is like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I can't imagine.
I will never forget the night. I don't remember if it was him or Bin Laden, but there was a Sunday night baseball game going on. It was, I forget who was playing, but it was Buster Olney, I think, was on there, and like Tim Kirkjian and all them, and they were calling it, and like people started chanting like USA in the stands, and they were like, why are people like, what's going on? And then text started going and whatnot, and then they put like the announcement up on the screen, and the place went nuts. Um, yeah, oh dude, like something like that would be really cool to just relive. Uh, George Bush throughout the first pitch, like when 9/11 happened, they took like a week off of baseball. Um, Kyler says I can't hear Brian and my dad.
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. You're still a
yeah,
little quiet
perfectly
on
fine.
mine. Kyler, tell me if you still can't hear him. But um, the first game that they played after 9/11 was in New York, and George Bush went up there and threw out the first pitch, and like even just talking to him about that, and that place like erupted.
Do you remember who hit the home run to win the game for the Mets?
Let's see, that would have been 2001.
Catcher.
Mike Piazza.
Yes,
Was he
sir.
still there in '01? That's who I was gonna go to, but I wasn't sure. Huh. Yeah, that's super cool. But yeah, yeah, dude, like those moments in history being there, like I've watched videos of like some of the armed, the military guys who were in the house that Bin Laden was in, and they were talking about how like I guess the house he was in there was like 3 or 4 floors, right? And they're like being real stealthy going up the stairs and just even I don't even necessarily want to be one of those guys. Just a fly on the wall is cool. I don't want a gun in my hand.
Imagine though.
What's that?
Could you imagine being one of those guys? Like the
No.
first guy that like, boom, like you like freeze, like like
Yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of it's just like what we were just talking about. All the scary situations that we've been in. Like Aaron, you don't remember any of it.
Right.
You don't remember any of that, Kyle. You don't. I mean, when you think about it, you don't remember making the decision to go between the cars. So it's I'm sure for whatever reason you kind of blank out on all those things.
Yeah.
And I mean it's crazy.
You've got to be like mentally tough to be in a situation like that's why there's so much training and whatnot because in a situation like that where one of the world's greatest terrorists is like standing right in front of you, you can't freeze.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Can you guys not hear Brian at all, or just
They can only
quiet?
hear you. They can only hear you.
You can't hear Kyle either.
So, Aaron, if you want to mute us, if you want us to go away, just say so, dude.
That is that's not the case, everybody. I just don't know what changed. I didn't change any settings or anything.
That's really weird.
The video's gonna get messed up here. Give me 1 second. Let me just make sure. Yeah,
Oh,
that.
now they said it's good. Now she's saying it's good.
Oh, it's good now. Okay.
That's weird.
And
I
again,
just had to turn the volume up.
didn't change anything at all, so not
Come
really
on,
sure
kid.
what's going on.
Maybe they're just, technically challenged like Jared.
Yeah, yeah, yo, you ain't kidding. Yeah, there's no way
Bet
he's
you,
on here still. He's sleeping. So
you bet your sweet chickens.
bet your freaking chickens. Bet your sweet bippy. Oh my.
So, this is the kind of stuff that you look at from perspective of, we don't even really talk about it. You don't talk about, like Aaron, you said you're really into history.
Yeah.
You don't talk about it. You
Yeah.
know, you 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 experience it. I mean, you think about the things that we've experienced in the last, for you guys, last 30 years of history. I mean, there's so much history that we've experienced, and we don't even realize it. I'm sure that it was the same way like when Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, all those guys were around. They didn't realize the history that they were making.
Yeah.
So it's just cool.
What's really weird to me is like, kids that are growing up right now, like they're gonna read about some of this stuff in a book,
Yeah.
and like I think back to like that day on 9/11 and seeing like that day and the days after it where like our country was like a unit, right? It didn't matter the color of your skin, it didn't matter your religion or anything, right? We were the United States of America and we were there for one another, and just the cohesion, right? That you could see it, you could feel it. And
Yeah.
now, like how far we've come, and now it's like it's everybody against everybody, and you can't have a different opinion. If you do, then I hate you, and it's crazy. And um, like I said, the kids that are reading about this stuff from a history book, they'll never know what it felt like to be in that moment, right, where we all woke up on 9/11 and we're all standing there, whether you were at home or you were in school. It was on a television, right? We were all tuned in. We were all wondering what the heck is going on. Um, and I'm
So
sure.
were you guys in school when it happened? Both of you?
So we were, but we were homeschooled that
Okay.
year. I was in fifth grade. Kyle was in seventh grade, and
Oh my gosh.
yeah, sorry for.
Yeah.
Um, but
So it's funny because at that point in time, I owned my own vending company, and I had stopped the radio in my vehicle did not work, so I had no idea what was going on. So I walk into a beverage distributor, and there's nobody around. There's nobody around.
hmm,
I'm like, what the heck? So lady comes out of the back, and she says a plane just hit one of the towers. I'm like, huh, okay. Uh, I'm not thinking anything about it. And then I go, so I buy my soda and put it in the truck and all that kind of stuff, and I'm just going about my day like normal. And then later on, I get to another place, and then I see on TV what's actually happened. It's like, oh my gosh, can't believe that this is, us.
yeah,
So it's crazy. So it's funny because you think about that, like that type of stuff, and COVID. I
yeah,
mean, we are literally 4 years almost to the day anniversary of COVID. I can't believe it's been 4 years ago already.
years.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy.
Yeah,
And we look back at it, and this is how we would have had to communicate, right here, because we had no other way.
yeah,
And everything that happened in that year and a half, 2 years is just like, uh, you think if you'd have told me 10 years ago that everything was going to get shut down and that I was not going to be able to even like go to church, I'm like, get out of town, man.
yeah.
What are you talking about? You know? So that's just the kind of stuff that we don't realize the history that we go through on a probably not on a daily basis, but at least yearly.
2 weeks to slow the curve.
Yeah.
Remember that? That's what I mean. That's
Yeah.
what they said when it first started, and then it became like 2 years, three
Yeah.
years, right? I mean, there's still some precaution. I mean, obviously nowhere near what it was, but I mean, goodness, you couldn't even go golf by
I know.
yourself. Like everything was shut down.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It
Get in a
is
car
crazy.
without a mask on.
Yeah. Oh
What's
man,
that?
I still see.
So you couldn't even drive your own car with by
Oh,
yourself driving your car without a mask on. People
I
still, yeah, people
You
still do
still
that.
see that, and I'm like, guys,
Come
come
on.
on. Or you'd see like a husband and a
oh,
wife driving in the car, and they're both wearing their masks. I'm like, you guys literally live together. Like, yeah,
oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, and how funny does that sound? But yet, you look at it from perspective of some of these people are like, they're. I mean, I saw somebody on Sunday at church that had a mask on, and I'm like, why?
did you laugh
You
at
know?
him?
No.
Oh, I would have.
Maybe inside, but I mean, it's just It doesn't make any sense. But the whole point of our conversation is the fact that that was 4 years ago. So that's history now.
Yeah.
That's going to be. I'm sure that that's going to be in handbooks and school books and all that kind of stuff at some point. Just like the deadly plagues.
Yeah.
The deadly plague of what was it? Not botulism. What was it? I can't even remember what the deadly plague was. And so that's something that is just crazy.
Yeah. Well, even like, I mean, this wasn't as big as COVID, but like I remember when I was a senior in high school, there was the swine flu, right?
Oh,
You guys
yeah.
remember that?
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, like there's just and things like I think maybe well I don't know because I've not experienced them, but you read about those types of things in history books, right? There's like
Yeah.
mad cow disease and
Well, I mean, you think about it. Like when my dad was growing up, I think my dad was born in like 1923. So he dealt with with chicken pox and
same.
smallpox. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, right. So but I mean, you mentioned that. What about the avian flu? Avian flu was a big thing too.
The Great
You know?
Depression.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
dad would have lived through the
Y2K.
Great Depression.
He did.
Oh my gosh,
He did.
Y2K. What a freaking
Yeah. There
what
you go.
what a sham that was.
Scam.
Oh my word.
Everybody was so worked up about that. Oh, I'll never. Look. I'll admit, as a child, I was a little anxious. I was like, when the clock strike midnight, what's about to happen? Like, is everything about to go
Yeah.
dark? Is this going to turn into The Walking Dead or The Purge or what's happening?
Oh,
Everything's going
dude,
dark.
we had so many friends that were hoarding water and food and canned food and
Yep.
had all kinds of generators and
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
like good grief, people. And I still remember. So back in the day, we would go to somebody's house. We had some friends that would have a party every New Year's Eve, and so we were there. And as soon as it hit, we're like, okay,
Now what?
yeah, but, waiting for something, waiting for the big bang, or whatever, and it's just, but that's still, it's interesting, Kyle, because that's a historical event that didn't happen, but yet it's still
Yeah.
part of history,
Right,
Something
yeah.
we'll always remember.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
did you see Grammy's comment?
I look like I have
said-
Mackie Mouse ears.
No, not that one. The one above it. We
Oh.
had people coming to the pool wearing masks.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness.
Well, and that's what like, and you so like the golf courses, right? I was like, I don't fully understand why I can't go golf.
Yeah.
I will walk the course. I will carry my bag, use my clubs and my golf balls and my tees. I won't touch anything. Just gonna go golf, and they weren't allowed to be open. Super weird.
Yeah, really weird. Well, and I was working at Vitro at that point too, Aaron.
Oh yeah.
So they laid off like 300 people.
Yep. Jared was
Yeah.
one of those
Did he get
Mhm.
laid off?
because he had just
Yeah.
started in March. Like he
Oh,
just
that's
started
right.
when all the shutdowns were going on. So he was out for I think like 2 months.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah.
It's just crazy. And we still feel the effects of it, job wise and all that kind of stuff. I mean, so
Yeah.
Michaela was making, so she got furloughed too. She got laid off and drew unemployment and made 3 times as much on unemployment as
Oh,
she did
yeah.
when she was working. So
That's what
she
I
was
should
making
have
like
done.
about $350 a week. She's making almost $1,000 a week on unemployment.
Yeah, because
It's
they were
crazy.
giving you like an extra like $700 or something like that.
Yep.
The
It's crazy.
stimulus or whatever they were called. Oh yeah, remember the stimulus checks too that we all got? Sheesh. Man,
So
Big Daddy government really took care of us.
it would be interesting to sit down with those people that were making those decisions at that point in time, and have dinner with them and think, what the heck were you thinking?
Yeah,
You know?
because
You know, and-
free money exists.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But
Oh
crazy
man,
stuff,
we could get political real quick, couldn't we? And then let me tell you, if Jared was here, he would be all in. We'd get him
Hey.
amped up. We wouldn't be signing off
Hey.
here for the next couple hours.
It's all rigged, Aaron. It's
Yeah,
all
that's
rigged.
true. It's all rigged.
You didn't
Oh
hear
man.
that last week, Kyle. Kyle, everything he said, just about every sporting event is rigged. So
Tiger Woods.
Yeah,
Yeah,
except for Tiger Woods.
Filthy Phil's rigged, but Tiger is not.
Oh man, yep. Tiger did it honestly all the way.
yeah.
Oh my.
So,
What's Grammy saying? You look like you have Mickey Mouse ears. Yeah, I didn't know who Mackie Mouse was.
Mackie is Mickey's
Step
mother.
brother.
Oh, okay. Really, really, really quick. We didn't talk about this. Let's give 5 minutes to a conversation regarding sports. We did everybody a favor. We didn't talk about sports for the last hour and 10 minutes. You can give us 5 minutes, everybody. Um, I want to hear what you guys want as your Super Bowl matchup this year. And then I also want to hear your thoughts on both the Cowboys not firing Mike McCarthy and if the Eagles should fire Nick Sirianni. I'll go first
So
while you
I
guys
was.
think about this because
Oh, go ahead. Go
I've
ahead.
already processed these things because I knew I was going to surprise you guys. So number one, I want my Super Bowl. You're welcome, Brian, to be the Detroit Lions versus the Buffalo Bills, and I want the Lions to take home numero uno and win it big. They deserve it. I love their colors of their uniforms. The blue that they wear it's beautiful shade of blue. So I'm all in on the Detroit Lions. Mike McCarthy, 100% should have been fired. 100%. He has had 3-12 and whatever seasons. 12 and what would they be? 12 and 5? Is that right? They play 17 games now, right? 18 weeks, 17 games. Yeah, 12 and 5. 3 win seasons with absolutely nothing in the postseason to show for it. Nothing. Nothing. They got rid of the offensive coordinator, right? They did some of these things. He's not getting it done in the playoffs. Get him out of here. Also, Jerry Jones should fire himself as the general manager. He's really good at signing paychecks. That's all he should do. He should hire a general manager who knows what the heck he's doing. He should hire a new head coach. That new head coach, by the way, should have been Bill Belichick. It won't be now because Mike McCarthy's coming back. Number 3, Nick Sirianni, 100% should be fired, especially after an epic collapse. Went from 10-1 in the first 11 games, finished the season 1-5, and then get completely trounced by Baker Mayfield in the playoffs. Come on, dude. Get him out of here. They could bring in Bill Belichick. And I'm going to tell you right now, if they do, which I don't think they will, I think Belichick's going to the Falcons. If they do bring him to Philadelphia, look out. Look out. You heard it here first on JSNB Talk. Who wants to go next?
Yeah.
Got a little fired up.
I don't know that I have really an NFC favorite. I would love to see Houston go to the Super Bowl
Ew.
and just make it that far with their rookie quarterback, the head coach. Like if they could end up going to the next round and beating, I'm gonna say probably the Ravens. Beat the
Houston.
Ravens.
No, Houston's in the AFC. Aren't they?
I mean, before the Super Bowl.
Oh.
To go in and beat
Play the
Buffalo
Lions.
and beat the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl and sure play the Lions. You sure
And lose to the Lions.
would be sweet.
Right, Brian?
That's right, baby. That's
I just think that'd be just a cool story. I don't know if I'm sure it may have happened. Probably really rare if it did happen. If a rookie quarterback, has ever made it to a Super Bowl and won.
And one.
Googling it.
And won, yes. Kyler actually asked me that the other night. I think it was Kyler said something about has that ever happened. I was like, I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you.
Mahomes didn't do that, did he?
No, I don't
His-
think so.
No rookie
I think
The
quarterback.
other thing I think is great is Mahomes is on the road for the first time in the playoffs. Hey,
Yeah.
No rookie quarterback has ever won a Super Bowl. In fact, no rookie quarterback has ever made the Super Bowl. So Stroud would be numero uno.
just a young team. Like I don't know.
Jordan
And I know the
Love.
Packers are young. Yeah, but I'm not in on the Packers.
I mean, neither.
So who's
They
your
did
team?
Rodgers dirty.
Who's your team, Kyle?
The Dolphins. Don't talk about it.
Okay.
He said, "Don't
Alright.
talk about it."
I hate injuries. Like they suck. Like that isn't obviously their only reason they lost, but yeah.
Well, dude, I tell you what, going in there, I mean, what was the temperature, man? It was just
What was it?
crazy.
What was it? It was 8 degrees. Feel like negative 13
Dude,
I think it
that's
was
just
-4. Felt like -24.
Yeah, I
or
think
that.
you're right. That's crazy, man.
But-
Anyway, sorry.
All right, McCarthy fired or no?
So this was the first year with their new offensive coordinator, correct?
Yep. Same record as the last one.
Yeah.
Get him out. Get him out. You know who they
Get him-
should have
get-
hired if they weren't?
So this is what I would like to see for this offseason. Go sign Derrick Henry and see what happens.
The
'Cause Tony Pollard
Cowboys?
sucks. Tony Pollard sucks.
He's used and abused.
Go sign a
he's
good
washed
running
up.
back where you have a two-dimensional. You can run, you can pass, and have and be like the Niners, where you can throw to Debo and Ayuk and have CMC, Brock Purdy.
You know,
But
you know what would be great? Who could come along with Derrick Henry? And this is who they should have hired. Because here's the thing, I don't think Belichick was going to go to Dallas because he's a very hands-on guy, and Jerry Jones is also a very hands-on guy, and they would 100% clash. So I don't think that would have happened. But who they could have brought in, and who I am still absolutely shocked that he was fired, is Mike Vrabel. That guy's a coach.
blindsided.
That guy's a coach. You brought if they did bring Derrick Henry and you could have brought Vrabel over there to an already stacked offense, that'd be pretty filthy. But we'll never know because Mike Carthy's going to lead them to another 12-5 season and be out in the playoffs in the first round. So who knows? Sorry, Dad.
a whole Sirianni thing. I was watching some sports network and they were saying I guess Jalen Hurts has been banged up for like a good bit, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm good, I can play," and like he's not the Jalen Hurts that Jalen Hurts is. And I think there's a lot of like behind the scenes stuff, obviously with the AJ Brown deal. Like he wants out. Like I think there's a lot more going on there than to worry about a coach. They got to fix their problems before they think about getting another coach.
That's another one. So, like I said, I think Belichick's gone to Atlanta, which leaves the door wide open for Vrabel to come to Philadelphia. That would also be dangerous. If they can fix some of those issues, obviously. But
I did see today on the McAfee show that it wasn't like 100% confirmed, but it's pretty much confirmed that Belichick is going to go to Atlanta.
Which I don't understand that at all. I don't understand the appeal down there.
Yeah.
You're going to go from Mac
Where else
Jones
are
to
you gonna
Desmond
go?
Ritter. I'd
Where are you
rather
going to go though?
retire. Just be done.
He's trying to get the record. He's trying to get a win record.
We ain't going to do that with Desmond Ritter.
He plays 2 or 3 years and it's done.
Go interview
Or
with
if
the
he coaches 2 or
Chargers.
3 years. Harbaugh.
Yeah, Harbaugh's gonna end up there.
Yeah, cool. Love
Most
that.
definitely.
Big fan.
Yeah.
I got Harbaugh and Andy Reid for 4 games out of the year.
Are you a Penn State fan, Aaron?
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh well, see then you're getting rid of Michigan. You're getting
Yeah,
rid of the Harbaugh
so I
there,
already
so.
see him over here. So now let's pick him up and move him over here. Now instead of playing Michigan once a year, now the Broncos have to play the Chargers twice a year. That's great.
Yeah,
Love
well,
that. Big
Guys
fan.
never make it to like the top 4 and have to play him again.
You're so funny. How's the Maryland Terrapins doing? You jag.
Oh, they don't ever have a chance to make it. You guys get close and then
Well, playing the hardest
yeah.
hardest football conference in the nation. So,
Oh my goodness.
all right, Brian. I
we
don't
getting
remember.
good debates, me and Aaron.
Yeah, well.
What's your
hey.
Super Bowl?
Obviously the Lions. Lions are one of 4 teams that have never even been to the
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
That's why I'm rooting
So,
for him.
Their last dude. They're. I mean, I've been a fan forever. I've been a fan for like 40 years, but you know I have a T-shirt that says "just once in my lifetime, please." So,
That's
so
funny.
So I'd like to see them, and I'd also like to see the Buffalo Bills, because if the Lions happen not to win, then I'd like to see the Bills win, because
Didn't the
they've
Bills
been
go to
there.
like 4 in a row or something like
Yep,
that, and they didn't
they've
win any
lost.
of them?
They lost all 4. Yep.
Sheesh.
So
I'd kind of
so
like
I
to
heard.
see them lose another one.
Well, me too.
Dolphins fan,
But
so yeah,
you know,
100%.
if the Lions have to lose to somebody, I'd rather have them see them lose to the Bills. That
Not
was
the
one thing
Chiefs.
that they were. No, no, I no. So Bills and Lions, and then as far as both coaches, in my mind, I don't know that there's ever been a situation where where a coach has been changed in the middle of a season that has ever made a difference.
In the middle of a
So
season
yeah,
or in the
yeah.
next season?
Uh, well, next season's a little bit different because if you change this, so for instance, now these guys are all done. So the new coach coming in, as long as they get hired enough time, they're able to build their own system. They're able to build their own team, all that kind of stuff. So it's really it's not, it's comparing apples and oranges. You know, if you change in the middle of a season, I you know
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I wouldn't.
it's
I
gonna
wouldn't have fired him in the middle of the season.
so to go along with that though, I don't think that firing a coach makes a difference when it comes to winning or losing. And I'm saying that because like let's take the Cowboys for instance. All right, I heard that there was issues within the clubhouse, within teammates. Like Dak didn't want to throw to C.D. Lamb. You know, he didn't want to throw to him for whatever reason. They were having personal issues or
He's an
whatever.
idiot.
Well, changing a coach is not going to change that. You know, he's not going to change that. It's not the coach's fault. It's your players. You know, and the Philadelphia Eagles. You know, so they collapsed. I mean, it was because of the players, not the coach. So
Eh, there were some
what?
pretty dumb play calls, especially in the Eagles Buccaneers game where it's like they did not play to Jalen Hurts' strengths at all, at all. And honestly, to me, like I don't know, I didn't hear anything like that about the Cowboys, but the Eagles literally just looked like they lost their identity. Like when
Oh,
they
I agree.
started 10-1, for some reason, like they just went away from what worked,
Well,
and
and it seemed like they lost interest in the game.
yeah.
They just like, let's,
Well, and that's
you know,
and part of what I heard too. And again, this is I mean, we're couch coaches, right? This is all
right.
very easy to judge and say from me sitting in my basement desk in Enola, Pennsylvania. But um, Sirianni, there's reports that he lost the locker room, that he lost the respect of the players and whatnot. Um,
In that
so
case,
if
then
that
yeah,
is the case, you do have to move on.
right.
You have
Yep,
to.
I agree.
And so, like last year, right, the Denver Broncos, they hired, or 2 years ago now, they hired Nathaniel Hackett, right? And that was uh, literally the only reason they picked Nathaniel Hackett is because they thought if they got Hackett, they'd get Rodgers. They didn't get Rodgers, they got Hackett, and it was a circus for the entire year until they fired him.
So do
Um,
you think, Aaron, that if Rodgers would have come along with him, that it would have made a difference?
Yes, because I think that Rodgers fit his system, and I think when Russell Wilson came, Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are not the same type of quarterback, and he tried because I don't think that Hackett has the experience, and instead of trying to adapt his system to fit Russell Wilson, he tried to force Russell Wilson into his system. I I
And that
I
doesn't
I,
work.
I tell people what's that?
I said that doesn't work.
No,
It
and
doesn't
I
work.
and I tell people it's like those toddler toys, right? Where you have like the ball and it's like a circle and you have like the triangle piece and you're trying to force it into the hole. I feel like
Right.
that's what he was doing. Sean Payton, right? Hackett leaves, Sean Payton, he comes in. Um, it took him a little bit into the preseason. Like the preseason, obviously, you don't play a lot. The Broncos starters did play a little bit longer than did other teams play their starters, but I mean, the Broncos still started 1-5, but you could tell he started to learn. He started to learn his guys, and I mean, we were one win away from potentially seeing the playoffs. And
Right.
so now obviously there's a lot of drama with Russell Wilson and who our quarterback's going to be next year and blah blah blah. But I think Sean Payton. It didn't seem like from day one that he had a lot of respect for Russell Wilson. Because I guess
Yeah, I
Russell
agree.
Wilson was bringing in like his own doctors and stuff like that, and he's like, no, we're the Denver
Well,
Broncos. Like you can see your doctors at home; they're not coming into the locker rooms, right? They're not coming in here.
I still wish that he wouldn't have benched Wilson because it really killed my fantasy team.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't have mattered because Wilson probably only would have thrown for 120 yards
Well,
and
hey,
fumbled the
better
ball
than
twice.
better than anybody else I had. I had Burrows on the injury
Ugh.
list for entire freaking season. Anyway,
Bet your
but
freaking
I
chickens.
think so. Yeah, you got that right. Bet your sweet bippy. I look at it from perspective of the Dolphins too. Their coach, came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The dude had. I'm like, who is this nerd standing on the sidelines with the headphones on, coaching this team? And he had. I look at it from perspective of he was exactly the opposite of what you're talking about with Sean Payton. Sean Payton was trying to force his system into somebody that it couldn't run it, right? But he did exactly the opposite. He took his players
Yeah.
and looked at them and said, "Okay, what can they do? What are they good at?" That's as a coach, that's what you've got to do. I've coached girls, boys, whatever. And the first thing that I have to do is look at my team and say, okay, what are they good at?
Yeah.
If I've got somebody who's good at shooting 3 pointers, it's crazy for me to have them work inside.
Yeah.
So
Well,
so I've got to fit my system to my talent.
yeah. You were. I
You
think
know,
we talked about this one time in another pod because you were saying like, if you don't have a big, like,
right,
why are you trying
right,
to,
right,
take it to the hole, right? Or
exactly.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
why are you trying
you
to
have
force it
yeah,
inside?
you
Right.
have to play to the strengths of what you have, and I don't think that Hackett did that with Wilson. I think Sean Payton did it better, but obviously there was just relationship issues there and chemistry and whatnot. So, um, yeah, I mean, going backwards to Sirianni, I don't know what's going to happen there. But again, you hear what you hear. We only know what we hear. We're not in the locker room. You really don't know if he's lost the locker room, but it doesn't look good based on the other issues that are right with Jalen Hurts and Antonio or AJ Brown, and again going from 10-1 to 1-5. You had the division in your hands. You threw it away, and then you were looking at like they could have had a first round bye
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
when they were 10-1. Like that's what they were looking at, and then all of a sudden, 6 weeks later, we're barely getting into the playoffs with a wild card, and we're getting owned by Baker Mayfield.
Aren't
Like
all of us
what?
glad that we're not Eagles fans?
Yeah,
Aren't we all
Yes,
glad?
yeah,
100%.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
So I compare this, Aaron, to Billy Bean and the Oakland A's and Moneyball. You know,
Moneyball, great movie.
One of the best baseball movies, one of the best movies. Period. Did you
Yeah.
see it, Kyle?
No,
Never seen it.
Oh, Kyle,
he doesn't watch
what is
movies.
wrong with you, man?
Everything.
Holy smokes! So anyway, so
You should watch that.
What Billy Bean did was buck the system. He bucked the system that had been in place forever from the beginning of baseball. And instead of going with the flow, he looked at people that were not utilized in the right way. And that's why he became a winner. And to go back to it, there was people calling for his head, Aaron. They were just like Sirianni and McCarthy. There were people yelling for Billy Bean's head because he was winning. Like he won. He won. I think what year was it? I can't even remember. But that year that he did that, he won more games than the New York Yankees did.
Yep.
They won like 110 games, but yet couldn't get to the World Series. So they were saying it doesn't work. but yet you look at it from perspective as saying what he was doing was he wasn't making his players fit the system. He was making his system fit the players. So it's just really a unique situation. And that's, if you think about it, that's what we all do. At Unify, and Kyle, where do you work?
Advanced cooling technology in Emmitsville.
So on all of your situations, in both your situations, you look at it from perspective of saying, okay, I've got a guy that maybe doesn't work out in the tank or doesn't work on the line. Then what are you going to do with them? You just going to fire them? No, you're going to find a place that they're going to fit. And
Right.
when you do that, when you find what people's talents are and where they fit, it makes your whole team better.
Everything
And
gels.
so, yeah. So it's just it's common sense, but I think it all boils down to pride. McCarthy is proud of what he's done, and he's saying, "This is what got me here. This is what I'm sticking with," and that's what he's got.
Well, he's got
Coach
12 and 5 regular season and no playoff wins. So good for you, Mike
Right.
McCarthy.
What is he? 36 and 15 over the last 3 years, and 0 for playoffs.
Exactly.
Playoffs.
What were you gonna say, Kyle?
So with this whole coaching thing, like with you saying about Sirianni, do you think Mike Tomlin should be fired?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
Because Mike Tomlin.
I'm with you, but I want to know why not. If you're going with all these
Because-
wins, like he makes the playoffs, then out.
Because Mike Tomlin's roster defensively is probably better than it's definitely better than the Eagles. Comparable maybe to the Cowboys, but on the offensive side, bro, Kenny Pickett ain't it at all, and Mitch Trubisky ain't it, and who was the other one? Mason Rudolph ain't it. Like that's
Come on.
you can
How can you bust on somebody with the name of Mason Rudolph?
nope. And
Come on, man.
Duck Hodges wasn't it. Like since Ben has left, they've not had anybody there. And let's be real, the quarterback position in football is probably the most important position to a team in all of sports. Right? So if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to win.
Right.
Unless you're the Denver Broncos with Tim Tebow. However, but God was on his side, so but so you look at Sirianni and you look at McCarthy, right? Jalen Hurts is not a slouch. He's shown he can do it. Dak Prescott is not a slouch. He's shown he can do it. And then on top of that, you look at their talent at wide receiver. CeeDee Lamb, arguably the best in the NFL. You could make an argument that he is the best. If he's not the best, he's definitely top 3. On the other side, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, both pretty freaking good wide receivers. Running backs, DeAndre Swift.
Five that Eagles have.
Yeah, but all of them are pretty good, right? So to me, we're talking apples and oranges. Like, and I could have honestly just stopped the conversation at quarterback. They've got to go out and they've got to draft a quarterback. They tried this Kenny Pickett experiment for the last, was it 2 years, 3 years? Like, I understand they wanted the feel-good story, the guy from Pitt to come play in Pittsburgh, and that was going to be magic, and everybody was going to love him. It ain't it. It ain't working. Get him out of here. You got to draft somebody, or you got to try to sign a free agent like Russell Wilson. I'm not saying that to be stupid, but like Russell Wilson, the Broncos are potentially releasing him or trading him, and I read that the Pittsburgh Steelers were a potential landing spot. Do they bring in Russell Wilson to Pittsburgh and let him quarterback for a year or two and draft a guy and let him sit? Hi, baby.
I'd
It's
say
my
bring in
birthday,
Joe
yeah.
Flacco. Joe Flacco to Pittsburgh.
There you go. Bring Joe Flacco to Pittsburgh.
And he just needs
Dude,
to play
I
in
can't right
Cincinnati
now.
yet.
I'm still... My daughter's bringing me a cupcake with a candle.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Should I blow it out? You want to help?
Happy birthday.
No, we don't need to do that. No. But yeah, so do you bring Russ in and draft a quarterback and let him sit under Russ for a couple years? I don't know. But to me, and let's also point out, right, Tomlin, he has not had a losing season. He's never had a losing season, and he's done it at the highest level. He's won the Super Bowls. He's won in the playoffs. And and he's done it consistently with a good quarterback. But right now, he just doesn't have that. I'm coming, baby.
The hard thing is though, is that there's only so many good quarterbacks to go around.
Right.
So I agree with you, Aaron. I think that you know, everything starts with the quarterback. You
Yep.
know, and he's probably in all of sports, he's probably the most important cog in the wheel in
Yep.
every situation. But you have to. So what if you don't have a good quarterback? How do you win? That's what you've got to figure out. That's
Draft
where
Tim
the good
Tebow.
coaching comes in. Right. Well, I mean, he tried baseball too, and that didn't work out. But anyway,
He's a
so
loser.
Shut up, Kyle.
so, but so what do you have to do? And I think that's where good coaching comes in. If you don't have a quarterback, you've got to figure out a way to win without one.
Yeah.
Has
Well,
anybody ever done that?
and so to me, that speaks more to Mike Tomlin because he just did it. Like, on paper, that offense,
No, they were horrible.
Mason Rudolph, Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, that's not a playoff team, but they got there. Right? They
Yeah.
lost in the first round, but they got there. So
Right.
I honestly think if you take Kenny Pickett out, and I honestly I think if you were to put in Ryan
Flacco?
Tannehill or right like
Ryan is
a
horrible.
good game manager, right?
Yeah.
That can open up the playbook a little bit by not playing great at quarterback, but just playing good at quarterback, right? You take the pressure off the running back, you open up the playbook a little bit, and your offense becomes better. And
Well, Aaron, that's what they were saying about Brock Purdy when he first started playing. That he was a game manager. He wasn't a good quarterback, but he was a game manager. Well, now they're saying exactly the opposite. That he is a good quarterback, and I think both are true. I think initially, whenever he came out, that he managed the game. He knew what he could do and what he couldn't do, and he didn't try and do more than that.
yeah,
So he was a game manager, but he turned into a good quarterback. So I mean, it can happen. I think it's pretty rare
yeah,
because how many guys have you seen that Joe Flacco, he played unconscious, but you look at it from perspective. Joe Flacco had nothing to lose.
yeah.
He came in and basically said, "What the heck? I was sitting on the couch eating Doritos 2 days ago, you know, and so why not?" So I think he actually threw more interceptions than he threw touchdowns. So it's just a matter of perspective.
They threw for 260
R.I.P.
yards to Amari Cooper.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Wild.
I think he also threw like 260 interceptions to everybody else.
Yeah, his last game there in the playoffs was not very good.
Oh, it was. Yeah, that's an understatement, dude.
Yeah,
That's an
it was
understatement.
not very good. But alrighty, well we went a little bit
Same
over our
agreement.
hour.
Real quick.
Oh yeah, yep. Go
Real
ahead.
quick. Real quick. Are we do we all agree that Lamar is MVP?
Lamar is MVP, so most valuable player is a regular season award. So yes, I put him at yes, and
I don't know.
I put if we're talking betting odds, I put Lamar at 1, and then I put CMC and Brock Purdy both tied 2.
CMC. Oh,
Christian
Christian
McCaffrey.
That,
And
it's. Go ahead.
I do that cautiously because to me, so in order to be the most valuable player, you have to be the most valuable player at least on your team. And obviously, like I said, so the number one most important position to a team in all of sports is quarterback. And so people will throw weight that way towards Brock Purdy. But I honestly believe if CMC is not there, they're nowhere near as
Yeah.
successful as they are
Oh yeah.
without him. So
Agreed.
I'll throw some respect at Brock Purdy because he's a quarterback, and I'll tie him with CMC at 2. But I think it would probably, if I had to go 1, 2, 3, it would be Lamar, CMC, Purdy.
Interesting, because so I don't know that Lamar has done anything spectacular this year. And you guys are gonna look at me like I'm nuts.
No, no, I'm with you. I
Because
just think the MVP from now, like, for I don't know how long it's been this way, but it's like you pick the best guy from the most successful team,
yeah,
and a lot of
well,
times that's the quarterback.
well, yeah, I mean, you're right. I agree with you. I think it shouldn't be. I honestly don't think it should be called MVP anymore because it's really not. It's just
Exactly.
who's the
Like
best.
best player,
Yeah, right.
most
So
best player, MVP.
yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, for a long time they were talking about Brock Purdy being it because of the way that he's handled everything. So those top two, they're talking about Purdy and Lamar as 1 and 2 or 2 and 1 or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, that's a tough. That's like having a goat conversation most of the time, you know, because there's so many. I mean, if you look at it from a perspective, you could really. I could say that Jared Goff could be MVP, because and you're looking at me like I'm
Aaron.
crazy because look at what
Actually,
he's done.
yeah, yep. You know what? I take back my look. I will say, not MVP, but he could be. He's up there. Honestly. So, Colin, I think it was Colin Cowherd. He does these
Yeah,
things where like he puts up a player's stats and you got to guess who it was.
yeah,
And so it put up like completions and QBR and all this other kind of stuff, and it puts like where they rank in the NFL.
right.
And it was like QBR was third. Everything was like top 5 or higher. And
Yeah,
when I read it, I was like, maybe Tua. I was like thinking, and it was Goff,
yeah,
and he's up
yeah.
there with the
Goff,
best of them in the NFL this year, like the entire season. I'm like, holy heck,
he's a good quarterback. He's a
yeah,
good quarterback. And I think, Aaron, what we were talking about earlier, Aaron and Kyle, I think that we were talking about players fitting into a system. He didn't fit into the system in Los Angeles. You know, he fit into the system in Detroit, but when they switched, when Stafford went to L.A., they won the Super Bowl the next year because
Right.
Stafford fit into that system. So I look at it from a perspective of saying, where did he take where were the Lions at last year? They were
yeah,
horrible. They were like 4-12. You know, and to basically 100% turnaround. To get where they're at, I'm like, hey, he's the best. He in my opinion is
the
one of
goat,
the guys. What's that?
the goat.
No, he's not the goat. Definitely not the goat. But what he has done is taken a team that was floundering and had no direction and brought them all together and basically turned the ship 180 degrees and made them a championship team.
Yeah, Brian, you're gonna love this. Ready? He's the gloat, the greatest lion of all time. The gloat.
Well, I
He's
don't know.
not though. Yeah,
Barry Sanders might have something to say about that dude.
that's true.
Oh, anyway.
All right.
Asian.
Uh,
Bill O'Brien is going to be the OC at Ohio State.
oh God, what a traitor!
Who?
Bill
Bill
O'Brien.
O'Brien.
He was
Oh,
the Penn State head
I
coach prior to James
Yeah.
Franklin.
I heard that he
Your new
was.
better head coach.
I heard that he was mentioned in becoming part of the staff for Bill Belichick in Atlanta.
He was on staff with Bill Belichick in New England for a little
Right.
while.
So,
Yep.
so
I also
Yeah,
heard that Josh McDaniel was also a part of that conversation. Like Belichick was just bringing the band back together. It was like like a Backstreet Boys reunion tour. Just gonna put the band back together and take it down to Atlanta. No problem.
So
Bring
yeah,
back
I heard
Matt
that.
Patricia while you're at it.
Yeah, well, that was one of the names that was mentioned, dude.
No way.
All these head coaches that have either had gigs in the past. Yeah, they were talking about bringing them all back together under Belichick in Atlanta. So
Wow.
it'll be interesting.
Bring back Brady and Gronk too. Just run it back one more year.
Hey,
Stand this Gronk.
Oh my. Alrighty. Well, we are just a couple minutes past an hour, so we'll wrap this up. But thank you guys very much for jumping on tonight.
so I want to answer Grammy's question. How is Becca doing? She, as we talked in the beginning, still plugging away, quote unquote, um, and no major uh, movement in any shape or form. So she's doing well.
Still holding tight.
But yep, that's it.
Yep.
That's it.
Brian and I are just getting ready to make our drive down to South Carolina
Yeah, something
at the
like
same
that.
time. We're gonna
You can
carpool.
just hop in the back of the truck.
Heck yeah.
In the bed.
Yeah,
Ooh, that might be warm.
there'll be enough room for you, baby. You're scratching your BB.
Yep, scratching my BB. Grimmy says we will be praying. Perfect.
Thank you.
They appreciate
you.
your prayers, I'm sure. We'll keep you updated, but thank you guys very much for being on. Brian, I think you're planning on being here next week as well for the next couple weeks while Nick is MIA.
I would say probably that I'm expecting to actually be in South Carolina and still
'Kay.
participate.
Okay. Brian will be here. Kyle, I think Jared will be back next week. Who knows? We'll see. We'll find out probably the day before. But Kyle will probably be back on a couple of times here within the next month or so. So thank you guys very much for being on. We appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming in and chatting and talking. We appreciate that as well. That's why we do this. Three handsome guys tonight. Oh, Grammy, stop.
Grammy's eyesight is very good.
Well, I wouldn't say so. I don't know what she's looking at.
You know, if you look at it though, Kyle or Aaron, we have kind of a transition going here because I've got no hair, Kyle's got some, and you've got too
And I've
much,
got it
so-
all. I just trimmed my beard
Yeah.
2 nights ago. I
So-
should have let it go.
Yeah.
So, all right, gentlemen.
Anyway.
Thank you guys very much. Chat, thank you guys. We will see you next Thursday at 8 o'clock. Later.
See ya.